According to YouTube, 90% of the people that watch my videos aren't subscribed. You know who you are, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. And also, while you're at it, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. The quickest way to increase your net worth is to buy below market real estate deals. And I know what you're thinking. No, I don't have a course. No, I don't have anything to sell you. And no, I don't have a fund. This is just information. Step one is to find deals. And what that means is you are looking for undervalued deals. So basically what you can do is you can go on Zillow and look for houses that are for sale for, $80,000, $90,000 in a $140,000 neighborhood. So what that means is if you buy that $85,000 house, you do almost all the work yourself, you spend $15,000 on the rehab for that property. The new after repair value is $140,000. You just made $45,000. Buying below market value deals is inherently fairly easy, just like the stock market. Buy low, sell high. Same with real estate. Buy low, low in the market, meaning fixer-upper, wedge deal, whatever it would be. Put some money in for repairs, sell high. Sometimes the longer you think about these things, the more likely you are to be paralyzed by fear. So in certain circumstances, actually knowing less about a certain topic may actually work to your benefit. Or at least it has in my case. I know that I personally suffer from paralysis when I have an overload of information, because in my mind, I'm trying to find the perfect deal. So don't overthink it. Next, when you're finding these deals, like I touched on before, is to make sure that you know the after repair value. It's easiest to figure out what the after repair value of these properties is when you look at the same bed, same bath, similar square footage, and similar year built as the house that you were looking at. Typically, it's easy to find the after repair value when you look at the neighborhood as a whole. Because typical neighborhoods, the houses are built close in age, have similar beds, similar baths, and around the same square footage. And this will give you an easy way to tell what your house will be valued at after you've done all the necessary repairs. Step two is to actually buy the deal. So once you buy this deal, whether it's the house that you're going to move into or you're just going to flip it for a profit, it's actually really not that expensive if you're going to do the work yourself. Now, we do have a couple of videos on the real cost series, so you can see what it costs me to do kitchens and bathrooms and what the actual supplies cost from your local big box store. So you don't necessarily need a $20,000 budget to redo an entire kitchen when you're doing all the work yourself. The next thing to remember is that you are building this house to sell. So you want it to appeal to everybody. You don't want to go with something that's super niche specific or super you specific in terms of like what tile or what finishes you pick. You want something that a lot of people are going to like. Also, it helps you remember what neighborhood your house is in, because you may be in a neighborhood where you're not going to get the full value out of potentially putting premium finishes or marble finishes. So you need to be realistic on what you're going to spend your money on. If you're in a $140,000 neighborhood, you need to treat it like it's a $140,000 neighborhood, where a new kitchen with concrete countertops is still going to sell at the top of the market. Especially when there's a very fine line between high end and low end, like the difference between carpet and luxury vinyl plank. You don't always have to spend a lot of money to make something look really, really nice. The next thing to remember is that cosmetics are where the money is made. Nobody's gonna go and pay you extra money because the plumbing is new, or the roof is new, or the HVAC system is new. You can't take that $80,000 house, put a new roof, HVAC system, plumbing, water heater, things like that, and expect to increase your value to $140,000. People will take those things as bonuses, like, oh, it has a nice new roof. That's cool, but they're paying for the finishes. Someone could walk up and see an exterior light that was on the house when you bought it, and then it was rusty and nasty. So what you did is you gave it this little sand and some black spray paint, and they're gonna walk up and be like, oh, that's a really nice light fixture. Well, yeah, it looks nice now, but you had to spend $5 on a can of Rust-Oleum spray paint in 20 minutes of your time. So that's one of the most important things to remember. Water heater costs $400. Nobody's going to give you an extra $800 on the purchase of that house for that water heater. Kitchen costs you $5,000. You will get $10,000 in extra revenue for that kitchen. The next step is where there's a divide. You can either sell the house, so let's say you live in it, or you're just going to flip it and you just sell the house, or you're going to keep it as a rental and you need to refinance the property. So I'm going to run through this as if you're going to sell the property. So you buy that house for $80,000. I'm going to use 15% down as an example. Depending on the lender, typically you can get loans for a lot less than that. It's crazy, like 3.5%, 5% down. But I'm just going to use 15%. So you put $12,000 down, you have another $15,000 for renovation budget. That puts you into the deal for $27,000. But you go to sell that house for $140,000. That takes your $140,000 minus $95,000, which is the combination of your purchase price and your total rehab budget, leaving $45,000 in potential profit. Now keep in mind, this is before realtor fees and before taxes if you're keeping it short term. Now, if you live in the property within the last 2 to 5 years, there are ways to not pay taxes on that. But that's something you need to talk to your tax professional about. I'm just a guy on YouTube giving my own experience Not giving advice, so it would be worth noting that if you would like to go do some research on your own about how if you live in a property within the last 2 to 5 years, the first $250,000 is tax-free. But again, this is not tax advice, so this is something you should look up on your own, but that's a good general area of where to start. Which means I'll take the assumption that you're not going to pay taxes on this, so $140,000 minus $95,000 leaves you $45,000 before the 6% realtor fees. So the next avenue we're going to look at is if you keep the property as a rental. So now right off the bat, you don't have to pay that 6% realtor fee, which means that instead of when you sell your net worth going down by that 6%, you actually just get to keep it. So what you do is you go to your lender and be like, hey, I want to do a cash out refinance. And basically what they're going to do is they're going to take the new appraised value and give you a new loan based on the equity that you have built by purchasing a below market value deal. So that's spread between $95,000, you have your $85,000 purchase price, $15,000 in rehab, to the $140,000. This spread between $140 and $95 is actually profit you have built by putting in the effort and the work. So you can actually be like, hey, I want a new loan for this amount. And then instead of you coming out of pocket with cash, they can use the built-in equity that you've made from renovating the property as your new down payment. And this is very typical in the BRRRR method of investing. This is why you see people getting houses for 0% down. It's they're buying them, rehabbing them, and then using the new equity to essentially get the property for free. And then they get to control the asset without actually coming out of pocket. Yes, it almost is the best of both worlds. You get to control an appreciating asset that makes you money and you don't have to pay for it. And the last step is just to repeat. So I'm gonna go ahead and recap a couple of these steps. As you can tell by now, this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. This is a strategy of investing and one which myself I would consider to be fairly safe, especially when compared to day trading or options trading or something like that. Every time you buy a property and rehab it, your new net worth is based between the spread between the purchase price, the rehab, and the after repair value. And the more assets you have, the more cash you have, the more likely the banks are going to want to loan to you. And honestly, I think this is a great strategy for everybody, whether you're looking to just buy a home, get into investments, get into rentals, anything. Honestly, you can learn almost anything off of YouTube nowadays. So if there's something that needs to be fixed, just YouTube it. You'll probably be able to figure it out. Like always, I hope this is helpful. If you got any comments, comment them down below. I'll catch you next video.